Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Daredevil issue number 1. I know I usually give spoilers for an issue number 1. Not going to be a whole lot of them here, all right? But I will tell you when any, if any, actually start. So this is No Fear, Part 1. Chip Zdarsky is the writer. Marco Checchetto is the artist. Sonny Rowe is on colors. VC's Clayton Cowles on letters. I did say colors for Zunigo, right? Julian Totino Tedesco does the cover art, and the variant cover artist, I'll give you them all. Alex Maleev, Joe Quesada, love that. I love that Joe Quesada is doing one of them. Feels like the old Marvel Knights days. Scotty Young and Gabriel Dell'Otto. So 4 different variant covers. Man, this book, dude, let me tell you something. A lot of people are going to be wondering, should I get this book, Professor Bell? Let me tell you something. If you get to the 6th page and you don't already know by now that this is one of the best comic books you've read, and definitely, easily one of the best versions of both Matt Murdock and Daredevil that you've ever read, you need to put the book down, go get a bite to eat, come back, kiss your wife, take a shower, and then start reading the book again, because you've done something wrong and you got to get your pattern, you got to get your balance back about you. This is real talk, man. This is an amazing issue. We all know, I think, I haven't read Sex Criminals, but I think we all know how Chip Zdarsky usually writes. He's usually writing some funny stuff. You know what I'm saying? He'll write some really good, interesting stuff. He'll write some stuff that'll make you, really enjoy the character, enjoy whatever. But on average, he's writing stuff that just seems kind of humorous in many regards. I remember when I met him, I was like, dude, you're writing some really amazing stuff. I talked to him when Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man issue 5 had just dropped that week. And I was referring to issue number 1 through 4. Actually, I did a review of issue 5, but I had to redo it. But I was like, yeah, your book, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man is actually pretty funny. You know what I'm saying? He's like, wow, I wasn't trying to make it funny. I was like, I'm not saying it's humorous. I'm not saying it's, it's a silly comic book. I'm saying when Spider-Man's talking, he still lays down that humor pretty thick, the way the Spider-Man actually operates. I hope he understood what I meant. Probably going to see him again on the 23rd because he's going to be signing at Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles right here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. So you guys do look at my This Week in Comics video, right? Right. So hopefully I can tell him again how much I love the book. By his own admission, when I met him, he does not watch YouTube pretty much at all, and he doesn't look at reviews for his comic books. He walks in, he gets a paycheck. That's how he knows he's doing a good job, and then he continues writing. One other thing to love about the guy's amazing. So everything that I say about this comic book, I know it's probably not going to get back to him, and I'm totally okay with that. Man, this book though, dude, like I said, by page 6, there's a first appearance in here. There's actually several first appearances, but one that is definitely going to stick. There's a detective in here. Let me catch this cat's name really quick. There's a new version of it while I'm looking for that. There's a new girlfriend for Matt. I think she's going to stay around. I pray she's going to stay around. There's a new look and new attitude for the father. And Detective Cole North, okay? This is a huge detective who is no nonsense. And I can see his character going in several different directions. And I get the very distinct feeling we will see this character go in all of those different directions at some point in time during this run. I've noticed that Mr. Zdarsky, aside from Sex Criminals, doesn't stay for very long on a title. I'm really hoping he breaks that trend with this title. Because, God damn, this has got to be one of the best Devil of Hell's Kitchen books that I have read in a really long time. I loved Charles Soule's Daredevil, specifically his take on Matt Murdock. Him being a lawyer and all, helped him to write the lawyer of Matt Murdock. Best version of Matt Murdock I've ever seen. And then this one comes along. I don't know if it's going to be as good. It doesn't quite have to be, but it is close. And either way, the way that Daredevil is written in here, superb. I know this just sounds like a whole bunch of buttering up, man. But, I can't even begin to tell you every single page. Look. I got the physical copy, right? So let me give you fair warning, okay? For all of you who are going to get this physical copy, beware. This comic book is literally gripping. There are moments you're probably going to find your fingers doing this, holding this precious artifact. I don't do the whole CGC grading thing, but if I did, I would want to go out and get a second copy. I'm just saying. This is a gorgeous comic book. The art, if somebody were to beat me with a stick and waterboard me and enhanced interrogation and make me say something bad about the art on this comic book, the thing I would say is that I feel that Matt Murdock's arms and legs are too skinny. But that, including while he's being complimented on his muscles, right? That being said, I'm still okay with it. I do wish his arms and legs were a little bit bigger, or at least if his chest were not quite so wide. But regardless, like aside from that, no, you're talking about art that is just beyond reproach. The shading, you got to give it up to inks in this, man. There are moments in here where the shadows make the entirety of the story being told. It's not the penciling, it's not the writing, it's not the colors. There are some, panels where there isn't a whole lot of color. It's the inks that will make it, which is pretty damn important for a Daredevil book, you'd figure, right? This guy who lives in the shadows, all right? Like, he sees in the shadows. And yes, you do still get a whole bunch of those sonar images in here. You can't go wrong with this comic book. Here's another potential spoiler that I don't like about the writing of the comic book. I have to say something bad about the writing, right? Just so I don't seem so biased. In this story, spoiler, there seems to be the beginnings of a Daredevil No More story being told. Now, we all know that Spider-Man No More was amazing, and they've tried to recreate that so many times, and with so many other characters too, and they've never quite taken the way that Spider-Man No More was, because it was the first. It is going to be therefore the best. Even if this is written well, I really blanch at the idea of retelling another, Hero No More story. I remember there's this one editor who, I can't remember the name of the editor, I feel bad about it, but every time that somebody would pick up a new Punisher book, they'd be like, hey, you want to write Punisher? Yes, okay. What's the pitch for your first idea? They'd write it up, they'd bring it over. He would always ignore the first pitch, because the first pitch for Punisher was always Punisher goes out and starts killing some people, accidentally kills an innocent person, and then he decides to hang up the costume. He doesn't want to be the Punisher anymore, and he's got to fight his way back in his own demons in order to pick up the skull again and move on. That's always, this is what he said, and it makes sense. This is always the first pitch that every writer does for Punisher. So having just read that just last week, I think if it's 4 days ago, I was surprised it was 4 days ago. That's how recently I read that article. To all of a sudden seeing a Daredevil No More story in an issue number 1 by one of my all-time favorite writers, that's disheartening. But I do believe it'll still be entertaining. I'll still hate the idea that it's tropey, but, whatever. I'm going to take the issue as it comes. I'm going to take the story as it comes. That being said, I do like that we've got this cover for the next issue. That looks awesome, because it looks an awful lot like this one. Why? Because of the sonar waves going out. I hope that in some way, shape, or form, the cover artist will always find a way to incorporate those rings, those sonar rings, in every way, shape, and form. Also in the back, there is a backup story with very few words. In fact, the words that are spoken are repeated over and over again in different versions of themselves in the book. It may sound like it's annoying. Not even remotely. And it's everything written and drawn, all art, by Chip Zdarsky. I believe he does the letters too, but what the hell do I know, unless it says otherwise. Also a really beautiful story. Beautiful story. I love the way that Daredevil is written in this. I love the way he's presented. Matt Murdock also, because they are two separate characters as far as I'm concerned. It's not an alter ego like Bruce Banner and the Hulk is, but they are very different characters, and I love the way that they're presented. Absolutely adore the way that they are presented in here. And tell you what, man, just absolutely beautiful book, dude. This is a great book. I don't usually say this with an issue 1, but at this point, and knowing what Zdarsky is capable of, even though this is so different from so many of his other works, knowing what he's capable of, I'm already putting this up there with Donny Cates' Venom and Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk as my 3rd favorite of my 3 favorite books that come out in comic books. It's funny that all 3 of them are DC books right now. I almost feel like I'm a Marvel guy as opposed to a comic book guy. But I gotta go with what I love. And I absolutely love this. I retain the right to rescind at any moment. But this is a beautiful book. Damn, this is a great book. So if you have any questions if you should be grabbing this book, ignore those stupid questions. They're bad for you. They are devilish and not of Hell's Kitchen, all right? They are anathema to your mind. Brush those out, purge them, get a priest, an old priest and a young priest. Exorcise those damn demons. All right, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.